So again, today we're working on a 2008 Honda Accord. I want to go over with you guys what a kind of maintenance check looks like. I wouldn't call it like 100% full maintenance check because that's going to get pretty intense. We'll call it like a 75%. This is like this is good for pretty much all of the really important stuff that'll leave you stranded. So first thing I do is when I get the car in, pop the hood, check the brake fluid. So most of the cars have a brake fluid reservoir over here. You gotta pop the cap off. This one has 3. See that brake fluid? See the brown color? That means it's time for a flush. So that fluid is hydroscopic and it should be serviced annually. It absorbs water about 1 to 2% per volume annually. And between the contaminants that build up inside with the heat and friction, this one's needing to be serviced. Next, check the air filter. Okay, air filter, you flip it over, take a look at the element. See how dirty this looks? Nice black dirt in there. That's in need of a change. So next, ideally, I'd hook up a battery tester here. I'm not going to do that for this video. I'll check the terminals, look for acid. Acid buildup will look like white fluffy stuff here. That's indicative of a possibly failing battery. You can wash that away. This is my daily driver, so I know this battery is still doing pretty good. So next, we'll check coolant. Coolant, depending upon the year, make, and model, has a reservoir and a radiator top. You can just look inside the reservoir. This coolant is a little low, so we're gonna have to take a look at that and see what's going on. Might have a slight leak. Power steering fluid. So this fluid could use a flush as well. Of course, this is a Honda, so pretty much all of them burn oil. I'm not gonna bother checking the oil on this. It's definitely low. Constantly have to fill it on these. If your car is higher mileage, you can come over to the radiator hoses, pinch them. They should feel nice and firm. If they feel squishy, if the rubber feels squishy, that means that they're on their way out. Radiator hoses and anything coolant related is super important to maintain. If your car does end up having a radiator hose fail or anything in the cooling system, that can leave you stranded. So, we like to take care of the things primarily that can leave us stranded first and foremost, because we don't want to get stuck out there on the side of the road. Next, serpentine belt. The way to check these is to find a bend in the belt like this. See the bend? See the cracks? So the way to check the belt is look at the deflection right here on the inner bend. Now if you look closely, you see those cracks? That means this belt is needing to be changed. It's almost gone, which is actually rare for Honda. Honda actually makes really stout belts. I never see them go bad. So that's another item that needs to be changed on this car. The next thing to do is what I like to do is do a general overview of the engine bay. So I'll kind of just take a gander and look inside at the block, the lower coolant radiator hoses, the bottom and tops insides of the radiator. The creases also on the inside of the radiator, just looking for leaks, looking for any kind of fluids that are coming out. Also next is to check the transmission fluid. So not a lot of the newer cars these days don't have dipsticks, so you're not going to be able to check it. You'd have to bring it to somebody like me because it's done from the bottom. But on this car, it has a dipstick. The way to check the dipstick, obviously, every transmission has its own requirements for how and when to check the fluid. So some cars want the car running, idling in park when you check it. And some cars like this Honda, they want you to check it while it's off. So while the car is off, so Honda's protocol for their transmission fluid level check is off, the engine's off, it's sitting there. So while the engine's off, you take your dipstick out, wipe it down, get it nice and dry, stick it in the hole, all the way down, and then pull it back out. So this fluid's a smidge low, but actually if you look on this dipstick, it says hot, and this thing is not hot. So when the transmission gets hot, the fluid expands and grows and actually will move up on the dipstick. So that's an important aspect to think of during fluid maintenance checks. The temperature of the fluid does directly affect the level that you're going to read. So because this is hot, we're good to go. The other aspect of transmission fluid to check is the smell. You smell it. If it smells clean, you're good to go. If it smells burnt, that's indicative of a serious problem. You want to get that checked out. I think that pretty much covers all of the fluids on this car. So you got your power steering, coolant, transmission fluid, engine oil, brake fluid. That covers all your fluids. Engine oil, of course, that's basic. Here you have windshield washer fluid. I never use windshield washer fluid personally, so I'm not really too worried about it. And again, you just, you can quickly scan over the whole engine bay and check all of these connections. Just look over anything. If you see wetness or you see fluid, it's probably not supposed to be there. Something's probably wrong. So you want to look further and investigate and see what that is. And other than that, everything else on this car looks pretty good. Just looks like basic maintenance. So next up, we're going to put it up in the air and then we'll go over what we do from the middle and bottom. First thing, tires. Check your tires. These tires are good. You're looking for wear pattern, inside, outside. I guess in a future video we can go over advanced tire diagnostics, but for now you want to investigate your tires. Just check the tread thickness and make sure these tires, all tires have little tread bars inside of them. I don't know if I'll be able to show you in the video, but inside the tread is little bumps. That is 1/10 tread life left. That's the minimum you want to go to. So as long as you're above that, you're good to go. The next spot to check is control arms, end links, so tie rod ends. You're looking for basically all the front end plane movement. That's the next on the list. So again, jack your front end up, jack your back up. And so the next spot is to shake the wheel. All right. So we're going to shake it first, left and right. Okay, I'm noticing a little play in it, but just based off my experience, I can already tell it's actually coming from the up and down. So left and right. Okay, that's primarily checking the tie rod ends. That's connected to the steering rack and pinion. So there's no play. You'd feel it feels like something's loose. This is tight. Now on the up and down, I can feel something's wrong here. So let's come take a look. Upper control arm, right up here. See that? That upper control arm has a massive amount of play. It's not supposed to do that. Now, I've been aware of this for probably 10,000 miles. I have experience with this. I know how long we can get these to last for. But if you ever see any play in an upper control arm like this, it's time to change it. Like this one, completely done. So for this, we'll probably end up replacing the whole upper control arm. And that's your up and down check. You're also checking wheel bearings. That's what you're also inspecting. Let's go over to the other side. So this side, up and down, upper control arm is good. Now, judging by the other side, upper control arm being damaged the way it was, that tells me this car probably used to travel around in the city a lot. Probably down to Manhattan, where there's a lot of holes in the ground, getting knocked into. That damages the suspension. So just something to keep in mind. The city streets and those kind of things are really tough on the suspension. And then left and right, tight, good to go. So then you can come to the back wheels, same deal. Got your left and right. And the rear is more going to be for wheel bearing oriented. Good to go. Everything's tight. So that's the side of the car. Next, we go to the bottom of the car. Look for engine oil leaks. This one looks pretty good. I don't see anything too bad. Check your sway bar end links. Like this. These end links. Part of the sway bar. Okay, you're gonna Put your hand on the sway bar and you're gonna pull up and down. No play, good to go. Check the other side. No play, good to go. You know, again, you're looking, just inspecting, making sure nothing's looking the way it shouldn't look. Check your axles, leak, okay? Axle boots, everything looks good. Okay. Control arms, sway bar end links. You know, I personally test drive all my customers' cars before I put them on the lift. So if the customer's complaining about, let's say, knocking coming from the rear end, you know, I'm going to take a pry bar and I'm going to start prying on these bushings to see if there's some kind of hidden play. But I don't have to do that on this one because I know there's no problem. You can hit on the exhaust like this, make sure there's no rattling, nothing loose. Go sway bar end links. Again, I already shook the rear wheel, front wheels down, so I've pretty accurately assessed all of the suspension components. Lower control arms. You can also check your bushings. So the sway bar has the bushings, rubber bushings inside of here. So you can just pull up and down the bar, make sure there's not too much play. That looks good. Check your fuel tank. Make sure there's no leaks. But you know, you don't have to visually look for leaks. Usually you can just use your nose. Feels pretty pungent. If you're smelling fuel at any point on a car, definitely something is not right. And that's pretty much it. As far as like kind of a speed walkthrough for doing a general check on a car and making sure everything looks good. Thanks, guys.